Alright, so today we're going to be talking about the general idea of narrowing down your submarket. So if you haven't seen any one of my other videos, I don't know if I honestly have brought it up in one of my other videos. A submarket is just an area that you plan on specializing. It can be as big as Chicago, it can be as big as a city block, as small as a city block, or even a street, or a little small town. Anything could be your submarket. It's really just the area you want to specialize, get as much knowledge about as you can to make yourself take advantage of the economy in that area. So first, let's go ahead and talk about narrowing down your submarket. Oh, by the way, this isn't going to be huge like level 1 research, level 2 research, because there's different types of research. There's research that you can do at your home, on your electronics, and there's research that you can do, your follow-up research you'll do, which in person, which obviously you don't want to do the other way around. It definitely wouldn't be the best situation to fly out somewhere and find out you could have just figured out information that prevented you from investing there online, right? So go ahead and start off on the, your PC, your phone, your laptop, anything, just to gain that initial knowledge. But we're just looking at a big overview here about narrowing your submarket. We're not going to get too into each research category, but we're just looking at a big overview. That's our goal right here. So first off, I'd recommend investing in an area that has good asset protection. That's why I don't like California. They're kind of cracking down on LLCs. They really do enjoy piercing the veil, it seems. And also, a lot of the economy in California is also just, I'm not going to get into politics, never mind, we're just going to skip over this, but, I just wouldn't recommend investing there at this time. But pick a good area with good asset protection, good LLCs that, you feel comfortable with. So, first off, let's go ahead and talk about a lifestyle associated with the area. So, a lifestyle associated with the area, what do I mean by this? It's New York, for example. The lifestyle associated is a big city, bustling life. Same with Chicago. Let's go ahead and pick a random town and out in the middle of Montana, for example. What's the lifestyle associated? It's a calm town, tight-knit area where, you know everybody, you relax and chill out. So pick an area with an associated lifestyle that's not just like everywhere else, your typical neighborhood, because a lot of times that's what people look for when buying a home. They don't want to just live in somewhere that's just like everywhere else. They want to live somewhere with an associated lifestyle to the area. So that's important. I'd recommend doing that. Another thing I'd recommend doing is looking for moving jobs in the area. So look for large corporations moving headquarters, for example, to a different area. Let's say, I'm just going to riddle off 2 cities in my head. So let's say we got Denver, Colorado. We got a headquarters there, and it's moving to Nashville, Tennessee, for example. We'll use those 2 cities. If you find that out ahead of time, and in the process they haven't really started, and they're moving, you could find that out, and the headquarters moving. I'd recommend just looking up even, moving corporations, even going to the Google News category to see what you can find, Does not hurt at all. So if you can get a property that's reasonably close to this newly established headquarters, there's a very good possibility, if you advertise properly, that you can appeal to the people moving there, to be closer to the headquarters. So that's another thing. Look for moving corporation, moving businesses. Another thing I'd recommend looking is just the general population trend. Now, I'm not talking the population over 1 month or even 1 year. Just look at a 10-year population graph, 5-year population graph, and just see where it is in the grand scheme. Just see, is the population higher than ever? Is it lower than ever? Is it on the rise? Or is it declining? Just look at these simple statistics, and just using common sense, you can kind of get an idea on what direction and risk level you're going in on the investment. Obviously, if you see the market, the population at an all-time high, maybe the risk would be a bit higher because it shows signs of recession, which is another reason you'd also want to look in the economic area of this submarket. How's the economy doing in a submarket? What's the unemployment rate? What's this and that? Just look at all these statistics in your submarket to really get an idea on where it is economically, because that can make a huge difference on whether you want to invest or not, and you should really get that big picture idea. So also, I would recommend, when we get into once you narrow all this down, let's say you find a property that's, the headquarters is moving in, or even a medium-sized business, and you really feel, oh wow, there's definitely a characteristic about this place, there's definitely really something special. I'm not going to explain it too complicated, but when we start moving in, then start looking at the individual properties themselves. think about why would someone pick this property or the property down, 15 minutes away? Why is this property so special? Why is something that you can look for is recreational, buildings, parks around it. Something like that is very huge, and a lot of times that'll be the make or break decision, or the deciding factor from someone purchasing your property or someone else's. Let's say someone else's property is by a highway, loud noise. It's a residential property. With commercial, that's different though, because you actually get more traffic, but we're talking residential. It's kind of a hassle if you're waking up hearing all these loud noises. You got multiple, traffic, just multiple traffic coming by. And then your property isn't. It's in the middle, of this neighborhood, for example, or it's a residential, residential 3 to 4 family, or whatever you want this property to be, it's residential. And it's not by a highway. And then they're both pretty similar properties. Which one do you think you're gonna go with? Definitely the one by the highway. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously they're gonna go with the one not by the highway, because they don't want, why would you pick the property by the highway when you can pick one that's very similar that's not by the highway? Another thing to look out for, like I said, recreational areas. Parks are huge, especially for families. They don't want they want a kid-friendly environment. If there's a park right down the street, that'll make your property very appealing. Same with schools and other areas. A lot of people look for schools in nearby areas. A lot of times you can look at the ratings of the schools and whether or not they're economically fit, and whether whether you think they're heading on the right path. If you got a property that's close to a school, and then you got a similar property that's not close to a school, which one do you think they're going to pick? Especially if they're a family, they're going to go with the one closer. It makes the commute way easier. And that's also, we can relate the schools back to the business nearby. Only one of them's the kid and one of them's the parent. If you got a property that's close to the newly located headquarters, someone else doesn't, which one do you think they're going to go with if they're working there? Definitely the one closer. It's just easier. It makes it all easier on the family. So really just look for uniqueness in the property. And just think about what is going to be so special about your property that sets it apart from everybody else, because that's what it comes down to, on whether your property is going to get proper traffic. So think about that. Narrow down your submarket. So let's go ahead and summarize this real quick. So we got, first, narrow down your submarket. First, you got to know what you're deciding you're specializing in. What area are you going to specialize in? There's nothing wrong with specializing in more than one submarket, but we're just going to start off with one for now. Especially if you're beginning investing, you don't want to overwhelm yourself, right? So we have locate your submarket. Next, find an area with a characteristic lifestyle, a lifestyle that's just resembles the area, something that makes this area stand out for the others. And also look for moving jobs, recreational areas. In the population charts, long-term population, long-term economics, just look at these and really just try to get a big picture idea on how well, whether you think you should invest in this area. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know if you guys want to see anything else. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe.